Dragging. Dragging.
Where the fuck is this shit? Is that what's fucking crashing? The fucking Nagano capture shit. Oh, thanks, Tristan. It's a joke title. I'm just like testing on YouTube. Uh, but thanks for the comment. Yeah, it's been a long bloody time. Oh my god. But yeah, it's just shows me right now. I'm trying to like set up how to stream YouTube stuff. I was streaming Twitch mostly anyways. And then clean up the crap. Oh shoot, I can do. Oh man, I should set up a list. Stuff. Guess I should see. Actually, what does the stream call? Yeah, will this game capture? Alright, where's the stream window? Oh, there it is. Delay on YouTube. Should I increase the bit rate? Wow, his connection's shit. Dang, that's blurry. Alright, here's some repair. Of course I lost. Oh shit. How's the bitrate, Rudy? Oh, looks fine on my like screen, like watching it. Like, plus. Increase to 10. It's what? Let me look quickly. Shit. What tab is it? Xenogears? Like one of the JRPG, whatever playlist on YouTube. Want to jab and grab me? Oh, he actually went for it. Okay. Getting laggy. Thank you. Sure. Oh wait, my preview is only at 40. That's why it doesn't. Shit. Nice. Ouch. Fox, what's up? Oh, I should have just killed him. Really? That's it, I'm out. No! It's fucking super. God damn it. Gonna crouch. I'm dead. Not mine. Wow, that stream is delayed. No! Damn. Shit. Should've just had. I can't mash super after that? Fuck. that? Oh my god. I actually want to know. I don't know this bitch answering my door. Whatever. Anyways. Oh yeah, how's great so far, Kudo. I'm playing a game. It feels weird, like looking at YouTube chat, right? Like, cause you're so used to watching Twitch chat. I'm like, who the fuck is this Kudo Fiddler 4160? D-R-U-D-Y? Is there like a fake? The OG R-U-D-Y somewhere on YouTube? Alright, let me play one more game and then something else. Got my ass handed to me by this thing. God, sure I played it. Yeah, like, oh shit. It's like, you gotta build the fuck you alert shit. And then, what was I using? Stream Island? And then mode. I don't know, it's different. Feels weird. Oh, yeah, that's not fun. Shit, wrong button. I missed. Is that? Oh, I missed. Dead. God. Hurry up, man. Oops. That's standing heavy. I gotta learn cross. Why? Just wait. Abandoned since 07. I could have killed him. Shit, I- Wow, my preview stream order was delayed by like 10 seconds. Shit. Really? That doesn't. Mexico, fix your fucking rollback. Okay. Whoa, what the fuck with the drops? Dash jab there, bro. What the fuck was that? Wow. I stupid not come out. Killed him there. Oh, he's always gonna. Alright, I'll take that. Always gonna press a button. Hurry the fuck up. Jeez, we're fucking dying every second, dude. I don't like this guy's internet. God. So I gotta press earlier because he's. Who the hell is this? I'm not gonna pick that up. Wait, what? Okay. Some ash. He hasn't respected my wake up at all. I don't know you. Oh. Yo, I mashed super there. What the fuck? Stupid rollback. Why would you do jump? Is the lag so bad you can read my hooligan? So all the neutral jumps I failed, like his jumps I failed. Fuck. God damn it! Jeez. Fucking lag. What the fuck? Like, I mashed super there, it doesn't come out, and the fucking... Fuck internet, man. Your one game of the year, baby. What? How did I not grab that? Whatever. What the fuck was you doing there? You could have killed me with super. Whatever. Ash! I need bad cat. Bad cat. I need bad cat. Bad cat. Seriously? Bro, my button's not up. Fuck. Everyone's always walking back. Really? What's the category? Oh wait. After I win one more, then I'm... Fuck. Fuck this hoe. What? Oh, he actually pressed it. Wake up. Huh? Boring. Wake up, guy. Oh. Dude, what the fuck? Wake up, super guys. Best jab, man. Fuck your internet. Yo, what the fuck is up with their eyes? Okay. Everyone, that sucks. That was a bloody mess. Oh. Whatever. Smash! Oh, fuck, never mind. Just mash! 5-frame rollback? What the fuck is wrong with the internet? Dear God. Walkback speed, dear God. Walking back. Walk up, grab. This guy's playing too passive. It's fucking boring. What to do with YouTube, guys? Let me find. Okay, what the hell are we doing? Oh, I guess I fixed. The latency is so big. Wait. Can I change the... Can't change latency? I think I saw the setting for that stuff yesterday. When's rando? We'll play rando right now. Not as fast as Kudo. I'll be like checking everywhere and don't do I don't have speed tricks. I don't even remember the speed tricks. I suck at ISG. I can't even bomb hover. Chat. Oh yeah, how do I get street elements? How do I set up? There's a game that plays itself. Or should I just go? Yeah, I'll do that. Michelin beef and ale pie at home.
I've taken inspiration from some.
How do I do this? Window capture, do that, open. Okay.
Of my favourite Michelin star chefs to create what I think is the perfect steak and ale pie. One of Britain's most classic dishes. So we're going to be using beef cheek as well as everyone's favourite short rib of beef. They give it the best texture. Obviously you get the benefit of cooking meat on the bone using the short rib, and you've got all that beautiful fat and connective tissue, and then you've got that luxuriousness of the beef cheek. It almost goes like slightly fudgy and delicious and breaks down and really soaks up all that beautiful ale sauce. So we're going to take a heavy bottom pan, just get that on a low heat. It's all about adding layers of flavour to our sort of braise, because effectively this is a braise. Not too dissimilar to that of a bourguignon. The principles are very similar. We're just going to play around with different flavours and slightly different techniques. So just going to flour our meat very gently on all sides, not over the top. This is going to help to achieve a nice deep crust as well as thicken our sauce slightly as it cooks. We don't want too much excess flour because that will stop the meat caramelizing if there's a massive layer of flour on there. So we just want a nice light dusting. You can pretty much use anything traditionally designed to utilize all your cheaper cuts, because it can transform the lesser cuts into something really special. But we're trying to take the same principles of that dish but apply it with some premium products, all that going to add different things to give a really truly special pie. We're going to go in with the beef. Nice, not too hot, as I mentioned. We want to build a nice caramelization on there. One of the reasons we're using the short rib is we're also going to play around with the presentation. It's obviously got a nice bone, so we're going to utilize that bone when we build our pie to add a nice bit of theatre to the dish. We got that idea from Robin Gill, who's an Irish chef. He has a couple of restaurants in London. He does a very similar thing, but with bone marrow. And as you can see on the beef cheeks here, you've got a lot of connective tissue. All that collagen is going to break down and enrich our sauce. So that's what we're after here on the beef, that like nice golden caramelization. And when you've achieved it on all sides, then we'll remove it and then keep going again with the rest of the meat. It's about adding depth and adding flavor and adding caramelization through that Maillard reaction on the outside of the meat. You can still get a very nice flavor without searing it, but it's just a slightly different end product. Right, last bit of cheek is going in. While that's going, I'm just gonna start to dice up my mirepoix. Again, I'm just gonna keep this quite chunky because I wanna pick this out later on. To maximize my sauce and the finished product, I want a really perfect sauce. So I'm going to braise the meat before removing it and then finishing my sauce. So I'm just going to keep my onions nice and chunky, my carrots nice and chunky, Okay, once our meat is seared, we're going to remove that from the pan. Then we're just going to turn our pan off and we're going to go in with our vegetables. I'm going to pop the lid on our pan. And what this is going to do is it's going to create some steam from the vegetables going into the pan, which is hot. The water content from the vegetables is going to leak out and help to steam off the fond from the bottom of the pan. So now we're going to put the heat back on our pan now and just roast the veg in the bottom of the pan. So we're just going to get a little bit of colour on these. You get scrape off all that goodness off the bottom of the pan. We're not looking for a huge amount of colour off these vegetables. We're just looking to mostly soften them ever so slightly and lift a bit of that caramelisation off the bottom of the pan. Just going to put a touch of oil in there as well, just to get it going. So once the veg is starting to get a little bit of colour, we're going to go in with a bit of rosemary and a little bit of thyme into the pan as well. A little pinch of sea salt. Give that a few seconds, and then tomato puree. Just cook it out slightly. So just taking your time at this stage, it's just going to help to develop the flavour. But just to get the meat into the oven, you're probably looking at 30 to 40 minutes, and then you've actually got to make your pie thereafter. So, you know, it's a big commitment. You're looking at the best part of a day to try and get this sorted. Once your tomato puree is nicely caramelised, we're just going to pour out that veg onto a tray. So we're going to go in first with a half bottle of red wine. Obviously, the better quality you put in, you're going to get a better end product. And then we're going to go in with 2 pints of ale. So we're using Guinness. This is the stout that we have on the menu here at Fallon. Scrape off the bottom of the pan to release any extra flavours. And we're going to reduce this by half. Reducing it separately just gives you a little bit more control to reduce it to the desired consistency. So Marco actually used this tip. Okay, once your wine and your Guinness has reduced by half, so that should take you around about 10 minutes or so on a rapid boil. Then we're just going to evenly disperse our vegetables back into the pan, dot our meat in and around that. We're then going to add some Worcestershire sauce, the generous sort of glug, around about 75 ml of Worcestershire sauce. It's quite salty, quite strong. We're then going to leave that heat on low because we want to bring it up to a simmer, and then we're going to go in with some stock straight into the pan. We're just going to use this stock to cover the beef. We're using beef stock here, but you could also use chicken stock. Probably want a dark chicken stock rather than a light chicken stock. So we're going to make sure that we've got plenty of stock in here. Make sure the meat is fully submerged. And worst case scenario, you have too much, and then you can save it for the next one. Now the reason we bring it to a simmer now is just because it just gets the cooking process going a bit faster. So we're going to place this into the oven set at 140 degrees, and that should take around about 6 hours. If you're out of the house a bit longer, you can easily lower that temperature and just give it a little bit longer. Likewise, if you're in a bit of a rush, you could have it sort of 160. I wouldn't go much higher than 160, but that might take you, again, 4 or 5 hours at that point. So this pie is very much a 2-stage process. So we need to cook the meat, and then we're going to remove the meat, cook it before we can start to build the pie. Wouldn't be a braise without a cartouche. Fold our paper over, measure that to the center of our pan. This does absolutely fuck all, but it looks cool. If by now you're not sure of what a cartouche does, then you really need to go back and watch some of our other videos. Now, all jokes aside, cartouche is basically it helps to keep the meat submerged, stop the liquid evaporating too quickly, and just keeps everything nice and tidy underneath the lid. Cool, so lid on. I'm going to place it into the oven. Okay, on to the pastry part of our pie. So we're going to be making a suet pastry for this. So this is actually a recipe from our very good friend, Knox, who is a master pie maker. So in here we've got our plain flour, a generous pinch of salt. As always, all the quantities for any of these recipes you're going to need are in the description below. So we're then going in with some unsalted butter and some beef dripping. Just massage the two together until we get a nice sandy consistency. So just rub the flour and the suet between your fingers over and over again. This is why I am not a pastry chef. You can use shop bought. So just going to keep rubbing this in between your fingers like so, and eventually it will turn to the consistency of sort of like dry sand. Once you've mixed in your butter and your suet, we're then going to add our water into this. And then we're just going to bring it together. Whenever you're adding water, you always want to just add most of it, but always save a little bit back just in case. You can always add a little bit extra water, but if you add too much, you'll never get it back. And once it all comes together, then you can pour it out onto your bench. Just pick up the last few bits of crumbs, and then we're going to cling film this. We want a nice pastry that's nice and short, so we're not going to overwork it. So we're just going to bring the dough together, shape it nicely before wrapping it and placing it in the fridge. Ideally, you want to do this overnight, but a few hours will be fine. So that's going to go into the fridge to rest. As I said, ideally overnight. Now, this is an element of a pie we saw from Chef Tom Shepherd, who has a Michelin-star restaurant called Upstairs. And he layers his beef and ale pie with layers of caramelised onion. Touch of oil in our pan, couple of knobs of butter. Always like to season most things at the beginning because it helps to break down the cooking process and seasons while you're cooking rather than just adding it at the end, which is a good tip for most things, to be honest with you. Start them off on a high heat, and as the water content comes out of the onion, then we'll just turn it down and slow it down as they start to cook down. After about 2 hours, your onions should look like this, and then we can set these aside, ready to build our pie. So once our beef is cooked, we're just gonna let this cool down in the stock for about an hour. And what that's gonna do is stop the meat from drying out. If you take the meat directly out of the stock when it's hot, it will steam dry and it will lose some of its moisture. By letting it cool naturally in the stock, it's gonna release its juices into the stock and stay nice and moist. So we can just get rid of our cartouche, RIP. Then we're very gently gonna remove our beef and pass our sauce through a chinois. So your meat should be beautiful and soft. Look at that. A little treat. Just a little chef's nibble. That's what you get in this ox cheek. You get those layers of fat and connective tissue. It's just so gelatinous, so rich. You want to be very gentle at this stage, not to break up your meat. So this stage comes from Marco, where he always liked to have his pies with large chunks of meat, and I can really resonate with that. Quite often you get pies where you'll get this sort of meat, and then they'll keep mixing it. And the beauty of passing off the sauce and finishing the sauce separately is that you can get the perfect desired consistency on your sauce without breaking up your meat. Quite often you'll end up getting almost like a bolognese ragu texture because they're trying to season with all the meat still in there, and you'll just keep working it and it'll keep breaking apart. So just gonna fish out the rest of that meat. So I'm just gonna pour the stock through your colander and then just let that stock just pass through. And I'm gonna discard the vegetables and the herbs. We do carrots, even though we cut those so chunky, like for me, eating that is just not the most pleasurable thing. Like, it's so soft, it's so mushy. It does taste great, but I think we can do better than that. Gonna remove the meat once it's all drained. If you haven't cooked with these cuts of meat before, I would highly, highly recommend it. They really are absolute king for this sort of dish. But you can get short ribs in your local supermarkets now more and more regularly. The ox cheek might be something slightly more specialist that you need to get from a butcher's. Like a little bit of the rosemary and thyme sticking on the meat is absolutely fine. We're just gonna put our sauce into a pan and then we'll bring that up to the boil. Just get it to a rolling simmer and turn our sauce down. What we're gonna do is we're gonna just remove a little bit of the excess fat, and we're gonna use this fat to make our beurre manier, which is basically a roux, but without melting the butter and cooking out the flour on the stove. 50-gram quantity of fat, and then 50-gram quantity of flour, so equal parts. And then we're just gonna work that into a paste. So it's just equal quantities of fat and plain flour. Right, so we're gonna take once the stock is reduced, we're then gonna take a little bit of that stock and pour it onto our beurre manier and make a little bit of a paste so that the beurre manier will easily disperse into our sauce. Basically a looser paste, and this is going to ensure we don't get any lumps. That's a nice smooth paste now. I'm just going to add 1 spoon to start with. So once you should see the consistency change slightly straight away. I'm going to add another spoon. Just whisk in that beurre manier and then let it simmer nicely and see how it thickens up. Your sauce should thicken much quicker than that of other thickening methods, such as making a roux. It also doesn't clump because we've made this nice slurry that evenly disperses. It looks like actually I'm going to be able to add all of my beurre manier into this batch. I'm going to season my sauce as well with a touch of salt, some freshly ground pepper, and a touch more of the Worcester sauce. Just going to give a nice little kick. So going to simmer that for a couple of minutes and our sauce should be ready. While our sauce is warming through, just going to prep a few carrots, which we're going to lightly brown off in a pan, ready to go through our pie. So we're just going to cut the carrots into quarters. I'm just going to chop a few tips of thyme, and then we've got a few button mushrooms as well, which we've just cut in half. Our sauce is set aside now. Our meat is braised and chilling. I'm just going to heat up a large non-stick pan, and we're going to fry off some mushrooms in that pan. Just want to get a beautiful golden roast on those mushrooms. A little touch of oil, no seasoning to start with, medium-high heat. Now the reason we're doing this is we want to cook the mushrooms beautifully. We want that nice golden caramelization on them without them being complete mush. If we braise them from the start in that sauce, we'd have a very overcooked vegetable garnish. And personally, with my braises, I like to have things that have been cooked a little bit less and have a little bit more bite to them. Once our mushrooms have got a nice little bit of colour on them, we're then going to go in with some carrots. And at this stage, we're going to go in with a nice generous pinch of salt, good few twists of pepper, A couple of knobs of butter. Okay, once your carrots have got a little bit of colour, we're going to go in with a nice generous pinch of thyme. Again, all these sort of flavours are completely personal. I love thyme, so I go quite heavy on that. So you almost want to over-season all the elements as you're going. Similar like when you're doing potato dishes, you always want to go a little bit over on the seasoning. So I'm just going to decant our garnish into a bowl, ready for building our pie later. Okay, so our pastry has been chilling overnight in the fridge. Dust the surface with flour on top of our dough. Slowly roll this out. So what we're looking for here is we want a nice thick pastry. So we're looking for about 5 mil. This is a very high fat content pastry, so you need to work fast. They always say that pastry chefs have notoriously cold hands. So if you have cold hands, then you're maybe in the wrong career. We're going to lift up our dough and lay it over the top of our mould. I'm just going to line this with a little bit of butter. Just going to take a knob of butter, very lightly brush that around the outside of the pie mould. Just helps it to be non-stick. Into the corners, like so. I'm just going to lift up our pastry onto the back of your hand. Then you're just going to place it over the top of the pie mould, just gently folding it into the dish. You don't want to rip it too much with your finger, so you're just going to go around, placing it into the corner, and then using the sort of side of your fingertip, you're going to push into the corners, lifting with one hand and pushing with the other. And at the same time, you're just going to very lightly push it into the side of the mould as well. Once it's into all the corners, then you're just going to go around with your forefinger and your thumb and just push very gently against the side of the pie mould and just pushing gently over the top like so. Where there's a fold, you just have to massage it out slightly, and then just going to go around with a knife and just trim round, leaving about just a slight overhang. And once you've sort of got rid of that overhang, you can then just go around and just double check it again. So again, the key areas are where the pastry folds over each other. You just want to go around and make sure it's not too thick. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to then chill this down, because we want the pastry to firm up again so we can put the lid on. Massaging it nicely. You can sort of feel where it's thick, and just with the back of your hand, just be really gentle. You don't want to go in with your fingers. Just the backs of your hand, the sides of your knuckles, pushing it into all the corners. So we're going to place this into the fridge now to fully set. It should probably take around 20 to 30 minutes. While the base is setting in the fridge, we're now just going to get on and make the lid. So you probably need about half the amount of pastry as you had before. I'm just going to follow exactly the same process. Use a plate and just cut round just so you get a rough lid shape. Flour that up, place it onto a bit of parchment, and then just put that into the fridge to chill. Okay, so we're going to select the best short rib that we've got here. And this is going to be our one for presentation. That one's going to stick right out the middle of our pie, so we're going to keep that one whole as it is. And then with the remaining meat, we're just going to break it into some large chunks,
PS1
keeping it nice
yeah.
and big. So it's going to cut it into some nice chunks, so you can just pull that off the bone like so. Should break away really, really nicely.
Some old games, Fox.
All those bits of fat
Everyone
here,
needs to play some retro
all that
games.
connective tissue is all going to melt down once the pie is warm. Bear in mind this is cold as well. So you can imagine how juicy that's going to be once it's drenched in that beautiful Guinness sauce. So we've got our cooked braised short rib and ox cheek. We've got our lovely roasted carrots, mushrooms and thyme. We've got our caramelized onions, and then we've got our sauce which we've finished and thickened. So we're going to take half our onions and we're just going to place those on the base of the pie. I just spread them out nicely. We're going to put our short rib directly into the middle, lining that bone to come straight out the center. Then we're just going to layer this beef up around the outside, leaving enough gaps for this for the sauce to find its way through. A couple of spoons of garnish. Okay, so we've gone in with a nice little layer of sauce. I'm just going to keep going in with more meat and more onions, alternating between sauce, mushrooms, beef, onions. I'm not going to overfill it too much because we don't want to run the risk of when the sauce boils or when the sauce is steaming with inside the pastry case that the sauce is going to break the seal. So we're probably going to go only about 75–80% of the way up with the sauce. Do a little bit more meat towards the very center of the pie. And what that's going to do is it's just going to help to rise the center of the pastry up. Obviously the bone is completely optional. Just think it looks quite cool. So then with the flap, I'm just going to gently fold that back. And you want to make sure your lid is obviously wide enough to cover it, which ours is. And then
happy to see you join me in detention.
Where the bone is going to be. And then we're going to
well, you're someone else.
Around the rim of the pie.
Wait,
that's going
what was the name before, I guess?
The lid stick. And then we're going to go around and just do the underside of the lid as well. Maximum adhesion for the lid. Making sure to get the bone done first, and then set the lid on top of the, spacing it out nicely. Gently prying out the lid.
I should
bringing it
update
over
my
the other edge,
profile
and then
picture,
we're just going to slowly work our way around the rim, gently sticking the two bits of pastry together. Now we want to make sure that it's firm and set, but also not pushing down so much that it becomes too thin and brittle. Then I'm going to remove a little bit of this excess so we can start to make the final seal. So with a sharp knife, just going to go around and just trim it on a slight angle, running your knife slightly against the edge of the tie mold. And I'm just going to grab a fork, press the seal down, make sure it's completely set. Then just going to go around one final time with a nice sharp knife. Oh yeah, now we're rocking. And then this time you're going to get really tight to the case. This is the fallow techers for the pie. Crimp the edges, we've made it as tight as possible.
I want to make it like a bunch of things from this channel, but it's like so much labor with it.
The last thing we do is we're just going to cover our bone with a bit of tin foil, just so that bone doesn't get scorched. That'll be then removed for presentation. And then we're going to put this back into the fridge to set before we bake it, to make sure that pastry is completely set and cold and not warm, because that pastry will start to melt. Okay, so pie's been chilling in the fridge now for an hour. Just gonna glaze this now with
what's
bit of egg wash.
after Tattooed Gamer? What are you gonna evolve next
So we're giving our pie a nice sort of glaze, and then we're just gonna pop that into an oven, sit at 160 degrees. And we're gonna check it after 40 minutes. Looking good. Nice. So this has been cooking now at 160 degrees. So we've gone low and slow, because we really want to get that sweet pastry super, super crispy. So this has been cooking for about 90 minutes. Now we're going to want to let this sit.
Stream sometimes on YouTube or Twitch. That's my
minutes, just
description.
to let those juices relax. Otherwise, if we turn it straight away, it's all just going to burst out. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to almost release the side of this tart mold. This is probably about a 10-inch mold, give or take. So I'm just going to release the sides. Just to let it cool down slightly. Ooh. So our pie has now cooled down, and we're going to cut it open. I'm going to remove the bone.
Wait, is that fried chicken in the background? Oh, shit.
Perfection. Bone was there for presentation. So obviously it looks great if you put that into in the middle of a table as a centerpiece.
Oh yeah, I didn't even share what I made last night.
Right, let's taste this. So you can see how soft that meat is. You've got the cheek there, it just breaks apart. And that pastry is so thick, look at that. The low, slow cook really helps to develop that deep, thick crust. It almost has like a proper crunch to it, that pastry. So buttery, really flaky. Because we haven't overworked pastry, and the meat just falls apart, so soft. Has a slight bitterness from the ale, sweetness from the red wine, and those garnishes are just nice. And are still like almost slightly al dente. The ultimate steak and ale pie.
Look at that. Where's the Discord? Where's the Discord? Look at that. Eat that. Zoom. Enhance. Look at that oil and grease. Look at that cheese. Oh yeah, I gotta count for like stream delay by like freaking 20 seconds. Holy shit. Dessert. Dessert. Souffle. It's so easy. You can make it with your coffee mugs or whatever. 3 ingredients. All you have to do is make sure you have a mixer if you just whip up the meringue. Look at that. Yo, it's not that. I need to use a macro lens. I should probably just dump a powdered sugar on there. Give all cheese. Cheese. The cheese. Yeah. This was a pain in the ass to cook. Oh my god. It was like I didn't want to cook inside. So I put the induction top outside in freezing cold. That's -10. And it took like 30 minutes to freaking heat up the oil to like fry the chicken. deliver, I'll just send you the recipe. Well, I didn't even use a recipe. I just pick a chicken palm a lot, so just whip up whatever. Just go find a chicken palm recipe. Souffle. That just stumbled upon the what was it? Whatever's cooks. No, this one, yeah.
Every chef has made Robuchon's pomme puree. But have you ever had his chocolate souffle? It's amazing. Robuchon was a master of simplicity. His chocolate souffle only uses 3 ingredients: egg whites, sugar, and dark chocolate. But it's a Swiss meringue that makes his recipe rise above others by whisking the egg whites and sugar together over simmering water until they reach 130 degrees, when the proteins are unwound just enough to whip into a more stable meringue that supports bigger.
Do it. My friends bought like chocolate. I was like, I already have chocolate, but I'll use your chocolate for the meringue.
Or the souffle. So. Swiss meringue. Try saying that fast 3 times. With the proteins primed, finish your meringue in a stand mixer. You're done when the meringue can't quite keep it up, and definitely avoid over whipping. It's deflating. Fold half the meringue into the chocolate that, unlike me, you remembered to melt beforehand. And no need to panic when the foam starts to collapse. Cocoa butter is a bully that kicks stabilizing proteins off the air bubbles. But as you keep folding, the chocolate cools and the cocoa butter solidifies, so that it's less destructive when you fold in the rest of the meringue. You'll end up with a chocolate mousse that's light, fluffy, and ready to fill some buttered and sugared 6-ounce ramekins to just shy of the rim. Give them a good knocking to level the surface, and then bake in an oven preheated to 375 degrees for 16 minutes. Your reward for being meticulous is a souffle that looks like this. But wait, there's more. You can prepare souffles in advance and cook them straight from frozen by reducing the oven temperature to 300 degrees and giving them twice as long to cook. Made to order is what you'll do if you want to earn Michelin stars, but from the freezer will still earn
It's a souffle, not a mousse.
Either
like
way,
uncooked?
finish your souffle with a scoop of your favorite ice cream. Coffee is particularly nice with dark chocolate, and serve immediately, because a souffle waits for no one.
Do it.
Every chef has made Robuchon's.
What else is there? Pure pizza butter.
Have you ever wondered if you can juice a pizza? Let's find out. Check this out. My poor blender. Look at that. Let's spin it. This is my kitchen centrifuge. It spins at up to 15,000 RPM. That lets it generate up to 30,000 G-forces. Those G-forces can pull foods apart based on incredibly small differences in the density of different molecules. Pretty interesting. That's separated into 3 or 4 layers. Smells like pizza. Get some of that pepperoni butter. That is the essence of pepperoni pizza. That is delicious, and I would eat that again. What else should I spin in my centrifuge? Let me know in the comments. Have you ever wondered? Do you want to make your own nacho cheese sauce? Of course you do. All you need is a favorite cheese, a few teaspoons of vinegar, and a couple Alka-Seltzer tablets. Yes, Alka-Seltzer. For every 6 ounces of cheese, you'll need 3 flavor-free, aspirin-free tablets. These are the ones labeled extra strength. Add 2 teaspoons of vinegar to each tablet and let things react until the fizzing stops. This reaction is crucial. And while it happens, grate your cheese. Then pour the Alka-Seltzer mix into a pot and stir in the cheese over low to medium heat. I'll add a bit of water to adjust the consistency. And then some New Mexican hatch green chilies, because these taste like home to me.
Show us how you make queso.
I want to give credit to Swetha Sevkumar at Serious Eats for the brilliant idea of using Alka-Seltzer to make the essential ingredient, sodium citrate. This is the melting salt that the Kraft cheese empire was built upon. It's what makes it possible to process processed cheese. The way it works is when the tablets get wet, there's a chemical reaction between baking soda and citric acid that creates fizzy carbon dioxide and leaves behind sodium citrate. Each tablet gives you about 1.35 grams of sodium citrate at the end of the reaction. You'll want about 2 to 3% sodium citrate to the weight of your cheese so that it stays emulsified as it melts. And this is where I noticed and tasted a problem with Swetha's idea. When I balanced the chemical reaction for Alka-Seltzer, I noticed it leaves behind a lot of unreacted baking soda. That's great for heartburn, but it is not delicious in a cheese sauce. Here's my improvement. Adding 10 grams of plain vinegar, about 2 teaspoons, for each tablet neutralizes both the vinegar and the residual baking soda, leaving you a clean-tasting cheese sauce. And unlike a cheese sauce made with cornstarch, evaporated milk, or some other technique you find on the internet, this one tastes of pure cheese flavor.
Yeah, I should do that.
It's bomb-proof.
The last time I made nacho cheese,
Make a big
it was
batch and refrigerate
grainy.
for weeks. Nuke it in the microwave over and over.
I was like making it for
melts
the
back into a smooth, glossy sauce. But unlike the store-bought
contrast
stuff,
supreme,
this stuff tastes
and then
like
the queso
really
was like
good
the
cheese.
weakest component of that dish. I was like, not good.
Sure, some of you tell me you can just order sodium citrate online. But why wait when you can get Alka-Seltzer at the grocery store? Plus, it might come in useful for all these nachos.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Do you want to make your own nacho cheese sauce? Carbon dioxide. Do you want to make your own nacho cheese sauce? Of course you do. All you need is a favorite cheese, a few teaspoons of vinegar,
Maybe I'll
and a
try
couple
this.
Alka-Seltzer tablets.
He cuts the
Inside
air
your
fryer
air
in
fryer,
half.
a centrifugal fan at the top spins and creates a low pressure zone in the center of the fan that sucks air up past the heating elements, which heats the air and dries out the moisture. At least it will as long as you don't overload the fryer. The spinning fan blades push this hot, dry air outward, where it's forced to flow down the sides of the air fryer and beneath the fry basket before being pulled back up through the fries. As the hot air flows through the fries, it doesn't just heat them. It scrubs away the steam and dries the crust. And because steam is less dense than air, it's naturally buoyant and wants to flow upwards towards the fan to keep the circulation going. This is actually similar to deep frying. The difference is that in a deep fryer, the erupting steam bubbles do the job of the fan and force the oil to circulate. Inside your air fryer, a centrifugal fan at the top spins. You might think you're baking or roasting at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, but around the food, an invisible cloud of steam at 212 degrees mixes with the hot oven air and cools it by nearly 100 degrees. The more powerful the convection fan, the more steam is blown away and the hotter the surface of the food will get. This is how a convection fan speeds cooking. Without a convection fan running, the temperature around the food is much cooler, about 200 degrees lower than the oven in this case. Without a fan to blow it away, the steam stagnates like fog around the surface of the food, which keeps more of the hot oven air away from the surface and slows cooking. In both cases, it's the surface temperature that the food really feels as it cooks, and it controls the speed of cooking. You might think you're baking or roasting at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, but around...
Try that. Fine, I'll try it. Make me a country mat supreme again. Alright, well, I'm going to bed. It was fun, YouTube. Goodbye. Alright, thanks for chatting. Stopping by on my YouTube channel. Like and unsubscribe, please. Milko beer, Mexican cheese bun, pico brisket. God damn, I'm fucking hungry. God damn it, really. Alright, I'm out of here. Peace out.